Hey, what's going on, guys? Hope you're doing well. And cheers to the new year. This is some Folgers coffee. Free plug there. So, what I wanted to do right now was talk to you about some of the meetings that I've had over the last week or two and talk about why people jump to a conclusion um, or jump too far down and want to. They're willing to work, but work in a non kind of smart way, I guess. And so recently we were having discussions at Hatch about finding customers and finding your target and ways that you can find those. But additionally, what kind of material you should have already set up or geared for that. And my answer is don't create any material until you know who you're going after. And the reason why you're doing that is because let's say you think your target is CEOs of mid-sized companies, and then you find out that you actually can't get in touch with any of those people. So you create some of this branding or sheets of paper with information on them. You spend a lot of time doing that, and what ends up happening is that you are thinking that that target customer was someone, and then they end up never even being that person, or at least not early on. So you're wasting time producing material that you'll end up never using. So what we say is try and really find that target. And you can do this in many, many, many different ways. But first off is you probably have the resources that you've been building for years, that you have a network of some sorts. So the first thing that you should try and do is reach out to that network and tell them what you're doing. If you're starting a new company, tell them that you're starting a new company and that it is X, Y, or Z, and that you need A, B, and C from them to help you. And so we had one of our companies, our Hatch companies, 80/20, say that when they went into business, maybe 18 months ago, that he put together a piece of material, half sheet of paper, and emailed it to or physically mailed it to 100 different people and said, I'm open for business, this is what I'm doing, referrals are always helpful, or something like that. And so when he launched, he told as many people as possible, got on Facebook and told people, he emailed people and said, look, I'm open for business. You might not have known me in that kind of respect before, but that's what I'm doing now, and I need your help. And so he, 80/20 has said that that's been very beneficial to them, to just tell people. Don't assume that people know what you're doing just because maybe you told one person, or maybe you emailed a couple of people, or maybe you posted on Facebook once. You have to tell them multiple times. Get your name out there. Get your branding out there, because if people don't know, they're not going to find you. So you need to go out, be very proactive, and go after them. So it could be as simple as email blasting a lot of people and saying, hey, I'm open for business, hey, I'm doing this, to sending out the cards, putting out business cards, maybe putting out some flyers, letting people know what you're doing. The goal for this is to not only leverage your already existing network, but also to not spend a lot of money, so that you can just tell people what you're doing. You want to spend your money on building the company once you find that target, so you're leveraging your already existing company. And so a quick story is several years ago, I worked in TV news, and I helped with the hiring process for several people. And in TV news, what happens is you receive a DVD, or actually in this case, a lot of them were still tapes, and a paper resume, and you would watch the video, or I would not only just do hiring, but we would also do like awards. So we would get all of these nominations, all of these potential employees, and we have to go through them, look through the resume. They all look the same. It doesn't matter. It's a piece of paper with words on it. They all look the same. And it didn't matter had they had 30 years experience or 3 days worth of experience. They all look the same. They all have the same words, willing to work hard for you, blah, 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 blah. Then you put in the tape, and yes, I'm not that old, 30 years old today, but people were still sending tapes or maybe DVDs. You put it in, you play it. It's like the bad commercial that you don't want to watch, or you're trying to find the channel on your TV remote. You keep clicking through. Most of these things are 10 to 15 seconds long, and they're being, or you would spend maybe 10 to 15 seconds on looking at these tapes, and they all look the same. And so you have to stand out. So gave a couple of examples at Hatch the other day on ways that when people sent certain types of resumes or awards, not with the awards, but with the resumes, what made us look was when we were actually being incentivized. And that might seem crazy, but I remember this like it was yesterday, is someone once sent a cookie cake. And it must have been the job that they really wanted to work in the market that they were in. And they sent a cookie cake. What's great about that is, number one, it's going to the person you want it to, and they're like, ooh, I love cookies, I love cookie cake, so I can get that. So you're incentivizing them to want to look at it, and they already have a very positive feeling about you. Remember the interactions. If you have a good first interaction with someone, you're likely to get at some point the what you want out of it, the conversion into a sale or maybe a job or whatever it may be. But if it's negative, in this case we could say a bad resume or a bad tape. Even if it's not a bad resume or bad tape, it just looks the same. You're being ballooned into this category of other people that aren't like you, even if you are good, but just because you did what everyone else did makes it so that you get overlooked. So you want to look different. And then the cookie cake is, let someone look and say, oh my goodness, I'm going to look at this tape a little bit more. Even if they're a worse candidate, you've incentivized the person to make them have a more positive interaction with you. And so you probably are going to call that person or maybe do business with that person. Maybe you have a little bit of budget and you can give out a Starbucks gift card for $5 for a free coffee for the person that you're putting it in. Whatever it may be, try to incentivize that. So if you're starting a new business, tell the world that you're starting a new business. Tell everyone that you know in as many mediums as possible, and be specific with what you're doing. If you are a software development agency, let them know that you are building software for growing businesses and that you're you would love their business, or if they know anyone that is looking for that, to please help you out in that case. You cannot, as an aspiring entrepreneur or a new business owner, be afraid to tell people what you're doing, because if you are, other people are going to walk all over you. You must pronounce it to the world what you are doing. And if there's specific companies that you want to work with, you can personalize some information, some mail for them, and send that to them. A great example of how to personalize and how not to is, it's 2015 now. We just finished 2014 holiday season, getting a lot of holiday cards. How many holiday cards did you get that are basically just thanks for your business? Maybe someone signed it, but most of the time it's just printed out on 150 different cards, and then that business sent it out, and they think that that's doing good for business. Well, I actually think it does worse for business, because you're just another card. But if you go on top, if you go over the top and personalize that, how often do you see a personalized card? You don't see it very often. And so one thing that I've wanted to do, and honestly have just not spent a lot of time doing it, but I went out and I bought cards. And these are cards that I can personalize and meet people with, when I meet someone, and I can say, great to meet you, and then write a note on it. I haven't written the note yet. I've only seen 2 or 3 people ever that I've met that have actually done this, and I think that it will actually be a little bit more over the top, and people will say, wow, that's interesting. They went above and beyond to do it. They personalized it. It's handwritten, and that's something that most people don't do. Usually when you meet with someone, you just email them and say, it was great meeting you. Well, if you go over the top and do this, we're going to track and see if this works, if this can convert into something or a better relationship or whatnot. So that's one thing that we're working on. But what I recommend to you is just find ways to personalize more things, because the more personalizing you can do, the more likely you are to have a better relationship with that person and get the end goal that you want. So wrapping all this together, leverage your network, tell the people what you're doing, personalize, and when you find someone that you want to do specific things with, tell them, but make it very personal, and don't just email blast one person or a group of people that you need to personalize that conversation with. So I hope this has been good for you. If you're an aspiring entrepreneur, a new business owner, or maybe you're trying to find some new business, would love to hear from you. Simply put your comment below or send an email at zach@hatchnorfolk.com, or fill out this quick survey as well. And if you are looking for more information, check us out on hatchnorfolk.com. Thank you for your time and best of luck with your businesses.